Hello my friends, time for another video about the Norden 901, the bike I have had now since February. Great bike in general. I have not been riding it so very much, considering that it's already June, so middle of the season basically, here in Sweden. Which is because I have also a small WR250R at my holiday house where I spent 2 weeks of vacation, so I've been riding a lot in that area. So the Norden has just gone slightly below 2,000 kilometers, got its very first service of course at 1,000 kilometers. But I've already seen 2 problems with that bike, which I'd like to show you today, and the solution for that. Quite simple actually. Let's take a look. Just a few days after I had picked up the bike, and that was still in winter in February, there was still snow, I realized there's some liquid here in the skid plate down here. And it was pinkish. It felt like coolant, and honestly, yeah, I know you maybe shouldn't do it. I tasted it a little bit, spit it out again, and it was slightly sweet, so yes, that is definitely coolant. Where does that come from, was the question. So honestly, it wasn't really easy following that. There wasn't anything around that area, so there are no coolant hoses around here, so it couldn't come from here. But it probably dropped down further in the front, and you see it slightly angled here, slightly downwards. So it collected around that area, and I could realize it came from somewhere there in the middle. And simply by lying under the bike, I'm not sure if I can show you that now, somewhere up there is one of the cooling hoses coming out of the engine block, and that's where it was leaking. So these clamps which were used there, which crimped together with a screw, that wasn't really tight. So I could get in there with a screwdriver and just tighten it about almost 1 turn. My guess is that when we used the new hoses in the factory, we probably tightened them to specs, but the rubber is then crimping a little bit, and it will creeping, I think that's the word, creeping a little bit, and it's probably then not really tight anymore. And you can see this, it's like a hose clamp like that one here. So what I could do is basically tighten all these hose clamps between half a turn and almost 1 turn. There are 4 of them, 2 also on the other side, 1 which you can only reach if you lift the tank. I told that to the guy who did the first service. I hope he did it, but I'm not sure about that. So hopefully all these are tight now. And the interesting part was that that leak came up even before I had been riding the bike. I think we had started it up in the shop, just to ride it out of the shop and to my trailer. But the engine never got warm, so there was never really pressure on it, and already there it leaked. And I told that to the dealer, and I also saw reports about it in YouTube. So whenever you have a coolant leak, it's not really a big thing. I would call it a minor annoyance that could be avoided by the factory, but check all these hose clamps. The second problem I discovered yesterday while I was out for an evening ride. Actually, it was the longest day of the year yesterday, and next weekend, just 2 days ahead, we are going to celebrate midsummer here in Sweden. It doesn't get really dark, but still I noticed that the light beam my headlight was shining on this gravel road, on this bumpy gravel road, was always jumping up and down, and it was much too low. It wasn't as far shining ahead as it should be. So, and when I came home, I discovered the simple reason that the whole headlight unit is totally loose. It's obviously fixed with 2 screws somewhere here, these 2, on the other side also 1, but it shouldn't do like that, and the adjustment knob here doesn't do anything. And fortunately, yes, fortunately there is YouTube. I love these YouTube user groups. I first thought there's something broken inside. Well, not too unlikely, it's all plastic anyway. But there's only a screw missing here. Let me show you that, if I can get closer. You see here that in the back, the brass part, that is a little arm on the headlight unit. And the other thing here, that's coming from this adjustment knob, moving forward and backward, and moving this headlight. So I simply lost that screw, which it should be, it doesn't really focus. Now it focuses, which should be in this brass thread inside here. And now I have, of course, not the original screw, but I found one here, that one here. That's an M4, I would say, with a little washer also. quite a short one, about 1 centimeter, and this fits perfectly. You just need, in that case, it's a 4 millimeter Allen also. No, 5 millimeter actually, 5. So the screw could be M5, yeah, I guess it's M5 already. So I'll put that one in, and then I'm waiting for the dealer to get me the original one. So now you see the screw head where it should be, and now the headlight unit is perfectly fixed. I just need to adjust the height again. Probably I need to wait a little bit until it gets dark in the evening, or almost dark in the evening, to get that done. So the screw fits very nicely. Don't over tighten it. It's a brass part inside, molded into the plastic. So don't over tighten that, otherwise it might get expensive. It looks like this arm can be removed also. I think there's a screw from the other side. It's just a plastic part. I did a little bit of Loctite on it, blue Loctite, thread lock, just to avoid losing that screw again. And you only really see that nicely if you remove actually the front screen, the windscreen. Well, otherwise the bike has been 100% reliable, but as I said, not even 2,000 kilometers. I'm normally driving long distances. I have planned a vacation in southern Europe, in Germany, Austria, Italy and Slovenia for this summer, combining it with a family wedding. So the bike will then probably run something between 5,000 and 7,000 kilometers during that trip. And that's when we can talk about reliability. So there have been reports about people having problem with the rear shock, which is quite close to the catalytic converter down there. So when you do single trail riding, it gets quite some heat down there, radiated heat and probably also warm air. But we are basically not doing any single trailing here in Sweden, which is simply because the law doesn't allow it. There are no legal single trails here. At the other hand, we have tens of thousands of kilometers of gravel roads, which are publicly accessible, even on private land. So I think that compensates for it. But that means the bike is always running with some speed, and then some cool air will come in there and will cool the rear damper. So I haven't seen any problem with that, and I don't expect any problems with that either. And it seems to be really this problem more limited to North America. So I'm not sure what is different there, if it also has to do with transport ways of the bike, that the bike is strapped somehow for a longer time on a pallet with the damper compressed. Maybe that's also a factor, because it's probably shipped by boat and that will take a few weeks. So if that damper is compressed for a few weeks, maybe it doesn't like that. Or it's really this single trail and city riding also, where you have a lot of heat coming down there from the catalytic converter. But otherwise, no problems. I'm really happy with it. And yeah, I'm gonna do more videos in the future when I have some subjects. Okay, see you, bye bye.